The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning, I'm Nico Haan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. Good morning. I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, 49 degrees. And going
chilly.
Chilly. And going up to about maybe 70, 75.
It sure is pretty, though.
Sure
is. A
is.
nice time. And I hope it's nice where you are.
Definitely. If you have any questions for the show or any suggestions, you can reach me at Nico at TFNN.com.
And me at Paige at TFNN.com.
And
we're taking your phone calls.
Yes, we are at 877-927-6648. Welcome back, Paige.
I know, it feels like I've been gone forever.
Yes, it sure does.
Well, it was kind of a whirlwind trip. I had to go 3 different places,
Okay.
and they were just back to back, so that's kind of what happened. But it was really nice. As you know, I went to the Weston A. Price Foundation
Yes.
annual conference.
And this one is called Wise Traditions 2016. That's
sure-
the 17th annual conference of Weston A. Price.
It sure is, and you know, the President Sally Fallon, I mean, it's just a wonderful conference, and if you ever get a chance to go, it's once a year. It's chock full of wonderful speakers and great seminars and activities and great food.
Ah.
You know, really good.
They were
wise
serving foods
food.
there?
They fed us almost every meal,
Oh, wow.
and it was from local farmers. So they
That's
actually, when they structure this, they actually look for hotels where they've got a farmer and local growers that will help support it.
Oh, wow.
Lots of butter, lots of foods that were cooked in traditional fats,
Mm-hmm.
always fermented foods at every meal, either sauerkraut or cultured veggies.
Wow.
Kombucha on tap.
Bet you that was good, huh?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I was very impressed with the food. I just really enjoyed it, and as I've said, you know, some of the great people that were there to hear the speakers, you just didn't quite know where to go because there was like 3 different breakouts. So,
At the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I've got the recordings, so that'll be great now.
Oh,
I'd
good.
love to share those with you.
What was your favorite, let's say, guest there talking?
You know, I mean, there were so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Nina Teicholz, you know,
Yes.
the big fat surprise. She
Right.
was fantastic. I think I sent you a picture with her.
Yes.
Dr. Cowan just was phenomenal about the connection of stress and the heart and what was going there. I mean, I enjoyed every single one of them.
So I also saw you a picture with Ben Greenfield, I think it was?
Yeah, Ben Greenfield was there. You know, he follows the Wise Traditions diet. So many of you have heard me refer to myself as a Weston Pricer for many years, from
Yeah.
the time I came on the show.
Yes.
I'm really a Weston Pricer. We call that the yes you can diet. Well, yes, you can have this if you properly source it, if you properly prepare it.
Yeah, and I think we should tell the people, you know, because we started this program many years ago,
Yes.
and it was really based on kind of like the paleo-style diet.
And it had just kind of emerged onto the scene.
Pretty much. It was like 10 years old, but starting to become where people were talking about it in the corners, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when my sister introduced me to it. And then as we've gone through the show, we've really started exploring, because the paleo diet is pretty strict, no dairy, no grains and things like that. And as we get educated, we find the Weston Price organization is really cool on talking about traditional diets. In other words, diets that were done in agriculture, not in the wild, and still maintain that health because of what they did to the food and how they grew the food.
Absolutely. And Nico, actually, I wanted to state that really officially at this conference, the Weston A. Price has dubbed their diet the Wise Traditions diet.
Mm-hmm.
So just like we refer to the paleo diet, instead of just kind of the Weston Price diet, now they've officially named it the Wise Traditions diet. And I'd like to kind of, go over in the next segment. We'll go over a little bit of the differences of what makes the Wise Traditions diet slightly different from what we know to be paleo. And I've always felt you and I were more primal. I look at a continuum. Traditional foods diet, like the Wise Traditions diet, is sort of center on the grid. Here's a vegan diet over here. And then as you move towards primal, and then paleo, and then ketogenic. So, and I think all of these diets can be used at points in your life. But I think
not only that, they kind of interchange themselves, because the ketogenic diet can easily be a diet from Weston A. Price.
Absolutely, yes, because it's kind of the yes you can. You can choose which foods you want to use. It doesn't really exclude any food group.
No, it's just emphasizes how you prepare these groups.
How you prepared and in the proportions.
Yeah, I mean, you can take rocks, boil them in water, and get some minerals out of them.
Right.
You can't eat the rock, however, so that's the...
it's really a great point. But, maybe it's a good time to talk a little bit about that. We can go over some of the specifics of the conference first before we go on a break, and then we'll come back and we'll go over.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you is that why particularly this conference? Because, there are a lot of conferences throughout the year. Is this just because it was convenient for you? But I know you were kind of determined to do this one this year.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because almost every year that the Weston A. Price diet, it always happens around this second week of November.
Yes.
PRL, Premier Research Labs, usually always has their homecoming or their summit meeting, which I need to go to kind of for continuing ed.
Right.
And this year they changed their scheduling.
Oh.
So I was able to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
there was always a conflict.
Yeah.
And I have decided to become a chapter leader for Weston A. Price.
Oh, yeah, I know they invited you to do that.
Yes, and
that's very cool.
Probably in the first of the year, I have some homework to do.
Yeah.
Some list preparation, but we'll make that something available to the listeners of the show.
Oh, I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
Well, it's really just a service to help people be able to...
Yeah, but it's just something else that a lot of people don't do, and it involves more work.
Well, what I realized is I'm already doing this anyway. So when people come to see me or they call me, I just have to keep more of an official list. And I'm also going to source some of these things. I really enjoyed learning a little bit about how one of the things that's always bothered me is there's not enough focus on the fat-soluble nutrients like vitamins A and D.
Yeah.
And getting them in the best source. And I do think cod liver oil is the best way for us to get it.
Especially this time of year now.
This is the time for us all to be on it. So, for example, since I already buy it, I'm going to buy things and kind of, I sort of operate my own co-op anyways. People can contact me and I can help them get good sources of things, and we can all save a little bit of money while we're at it.
Yeah. And of course, you can reach Paige at TFNN.com.
Yep.
And I think we have a link on the website on TFNN. They can find out your phone number and call you there, unless you want to give out the phone number. It's up to you.
Yeah, no problem. I have no problem people reaching me at Paige at TFNN.com, and because that way I can catch them in and out a lot and get back to you with an email.
Okay.
And, I thought it might be nice for us to go through, because there's a lot of confusion about what exactly does make up the difference between the Weston A. Price. You were seeing a lot of athletes that we know are athletes that are using fat as fuel, such as Ben Greenfield. I mean, his talk was great. Maybe I can also find my notes and share a couple of little pearls he gave us. But we'll get back and we'll kind of go over the Wise Traditions diet.
And in the meantime, Primal Edge, of course, we have our great special today, folks, all month for the healthy November Healthy Holidays. $25 off your first bottle of Primal Edge. Should give you enough incentive to get up there and take a look at our Primal Living Cool Down and Stretch. And also, of course, the Health Signals newsletter. Great thing on domestication on page 8. We'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back. We're talking about Wise Traditions, and that's the Wise Traditions diet of the Weston A. Price organization. And, Sally Fallon is very strong about that. There's been a lot of diets that have come on, but she feels very strong that Weston A. Price has been a leader in what truly makes up healthy nutrition.
Yeah, and Sally Fallon is the
president and founder of the
right?
Weston A. Price organization. And so we just want to kind of go over a few of these things. And this is not to attack or pick on any of the diets, not the Weston A. Price or Wise Traditions or the Paleo or the Primal or any diet. It's to make sure people understand the differences and what are some of the core principles of them.
And a couple of good books they mention here is The Paleo Diet by Lauren Cordain and The Paleo Diet Solution by Rob Wolf, which is two good ones to read if you are interested in the paleo diet. Of course, you can Google search it too.
Right. Well, she was just stating that if you want to review those two books, you can really start to see the differences between the Weston A. Price. And as we know, Lauren Cordain and Rob Wolf were really the leaders in establishing the paleo diet. But let's talk a little bit about, there are a lot of things that are similar, and many people following a paleo diet embrace a lot of the same principles. But overall, although there's many versions of the paleo diet, some of which incorporate many of the Weston A. Price foundations, there are principles that are different, and it's important to note that. So let's start first with animal foods. The Weston A. Price diet really emphasizes eating the whole animal, including the meat, the fat, the organ meats, bones, cartilage, and skin on pork and poultry. How many people think about pulling the skin off, keeping it lean, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a paleo diet usually focuses on lean muscle meat with no added fats. They like to keep things lean.
Yeah,
typically.
and I think that Cordain has kind of cleared that up in some of his talks. He mentions that he does say the lean meat, but of course it's the fat that accompanies that meat that is really the important thing, because we know that longevity means lower protein. So they really weren't focused on the lean meat in the paleo times. They were really focused on the way that the Weston A. Price is saying it.
It's exactly right. And that's how it kind of came up with the idea of it's the wise way to do things.
Yes.
In fact, as you and I have shared with people many times, it's exactly the food that now we don't use that the traditional people ancestors, paleos, or whatever embrace, such as the organs, and because of the high vitamin mineral content. And in the meats, in Weston A. Price, it should be pasture raised for high levels of vitamins and minerals. Animals produce healthy meat organs and bodies when they get the healthy nutrition that they need. And it should be free of hormones and antibiotics. And always eat the meat with the fat. And if the meat is a lean cut, you need to add fat.
Yeah, like I do with my pork chop if I'm eating the pork chop, because usually if I have any leftover pork chop, I've already eaten all the fat around it.
Right.
So I've got just a piece of protein there, so I have to put something else on it.
Yeah, and that's a really key point is focusing on the fat content of the food, because that is where we get a lot of these vitamins that we just don't find in non-animal-based foods.
So let's deconstruct this. When it says meat here, it should be pasture-raised for higher level of minerals, vitamins, especially fat-soluble. And over here in the paleo diet, it prefers pasture-raised because it is lean. I don't really think that's the intention, even though that's the way it was written.
Right. I think, and as you say, some things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think still a lot of people that are doing paleo still view keeping fats lower on the scale. And that's not the case with the Weston A. Price diet, particularly for children. And that's where I think this way of eating really shines, and that we get our children the nutrients that Weston A. Price showed without a doubt in his research, that children who eat these foods high in these minerals and these vitamins that found primarily in animal-based foods produce the most beautiful dentition, teeth, beautiful bone structure, and have healthy bodies and immune systems.
And what I would tell people is that, the old days, I remember when we had peas, and I hated peas, my mother would say, okay, you're going to sit there until you eat it. Was probably the wrong approach.
And I used to swallow them like with a pill.
Oh, really?
Peas, I didn't like peas either.
Yeah. So, and spinach, I got to like spinach, I got to like, all those types of things. But while I didn't like them, I don't think I should have been forced by my parents to eat them. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But I think it's a natural inclination for kids not to eat that because they don't need it right then.
And, one of Sally's presentations had what we all perceive to be superfoods, kales and avocados and things we talk about.
Yeah.
And she was like, these are not the superfoods.
That's right.
These animal foods are the superfoods. And, when you look at the nutritional breakdown, there's just absolutely no question
comparison.
that she's completely right.
Yes.
So let's go on. Organ
Organ
meats.
meats.
Organ meats are highly prized. We had organ meats on a number of the meals there. And more important, these should be eaten more frequently than muscle meats, and we just don't do that today.
Yeah.
I was at the grocery store, and I was asking, where's some chicken livers? And the kid I was at Whole Foods, and he was like, I don't even think we have those. I know they have them over at Nature's, but we need to look at opportunities to introduce organs, meats into our food. One of the ways that they had a side dish which sprouted soaked rice, and in it was a little bit of organ meat. So you were getting it mixed in that way.
And that's probably the way our traditional ancestors did that, because they knew that the value of the rice or whatever grain they were using was low, and therefore they had to prepare it in certain ways to get the damage out of there, and then add some really good things to it.
Yes.
And that's why you see these in stocks, like bone broths and stuff like that. We throw lots of different things in there besides it just being plain, because that's where the nutrition is.
So, in the paleo books, neither one of them discuss organ meats. It's
but
just not...
in future books they have.
Right.
So, this is a little bit cut and dry, but I see the point they're making, and it's a good one, because the organ meats are huge.
Well, I think that the majority of people following the paleo diet are not incorporating these the way they should.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, is this is the perfect time of year, because if you have a turkey, inside that turkey are all those organ meats
the
that
giblets,
you need. The giblets and everything like that. So pay attention to those, and of course, a lot of people made their stuffing out of that, too. So
that's
cool.
a good point.
Yeah.
So with poultry, you're always encouraged to utilize the skin. There's a lot of collagen in the skin.
No
It
doubt.
makes a great
and
source.
Plus, it tastes the best. I mean, who would throw away the skin?
And make pate with the livers and the hearts and the gizzards also. But again, on the paleo diet, really not a lot of discussion of the skins
in fact,
and
they
organ
do
meats.
mention in that first book, he says eat it without the skin, and he also says don't eat the white meat.
So Weston A. Price says for pork, okay to consume when it's cured, like bacon and ham, marinated in an acidic medium before cooking, or with lacto-fermented foods such as sauerkraut.
Sausage and sauerkraut, pork sausage and sauerkraut.
And traditional cultures have done that, right?
Yes.
Especially the
in
Dutch.
Holland, we had that, every week we had bratwurst and sauerkraut,
Well, again,
usually on Wednesdays.
And you'll see pork in traditional cultures, even in the South Islanders, South Pacific Islanders. They'll have pork and they'll have pineapple, which gives them that bromelain.
That'll
the
help you
enzymes
digest it, yes.
help to digest it and make it a little easier to break down. And really, in the paleo diet, there's not really a discussion on pork too much.
Nope.
No special
No, there
crap.
isn't. And this is one of the greatest. I like people to read this. This is page 8 of my Health Signals newsletter, the current one. It's 7 signs that human beings are domesticated animals. And I think this is really important to understand that we survive due to agriculture, and without agriculture,
we may not have been here.
Yeah, we may not have been here. We may have been here in a different form.
Let's go through those points after we go through the Weston Price diet. That might be really interesting to go across. I know it's in the newsletter, but that's kind of along the same lines. We'll be right
Pick up
back.
some
Take a
Primal
short
Edge.
break.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back to the show. And of course, we're talking about the differences between just what we call the paleo diet that Lauren Cordain had tapped into, and the Wise Traditions diet, which is what the Weston A. Price Foundation's diet.
Yes.
And these are very similar diets, but some of the books really don't emphasize certain things that Weston Price does, and I think these things are important.
They're
Now,
so crucial because they're the foods that really have the nutrients that traditional cultures knew produced healthy stock.
Now, I want you to tell the folks, because during the break we talked about organ meats a little bit, and what you do, especially for organ meats, which is really cool, great idea.
Well, you know, and I was really proud of my daughter. She's done this a lot with my grandson.
Okay.
You just have to remember to do this. But I went and got liver, and it's frozen at Whole Foods, and I put it in the freezer. But what you do is put it in a baggie, so it's easy to get to. So you'll do it, and while you're cooking your eggs,
in the morning,
just take a grater, like a cheese grater, and you'll grate a little bit of that raw liver into your egg yolks, let it warm up a little bit, and it's a great way to get a little bit of liver in.
And you could also crumble it up if it's cooked.
Right, exactly.
Right on top of it,
You
so.
can mix liver into other meatloafs. You know, you can shred a little bit like that
Right.
and get a little bit of the organ meat. It's not that you have to eat so much. We just need to eat it more frequently.
Yeah, and this is a good way to do it, especially if some people think it's very dry and
Or that the
very
taste is strong.
When you mix it with other things, that strong taste goes away and kind of just enhances it like a
Enhances
spice.
the rest of the food, right?
Yeah.
So we were talking about the pork and
Right.
eating that with lacto-fermented vegetables.
Correct.
So let's go into the seafood, which we
Yes.
know. You know, the paleo diet suggests wild fish and shellfish, but they don't really emphasize the added fat. Weston A. Price again discusses wild seafood, particularly shellfish, oily fish, fish heads, fish liver, and fish eggs. Preparing the seafood with
the
added fat.
Yeah, and eat the skin of the fish too, which
The highest area of collagen is
Really?
in fish scales.
and here we all
Throw it away.
Throw it away. Yeah.
So
maybe
really-
with a fish head soup, you wanted that skin all in there.
You know, I mean, I really think that if you went to your market and you asked your market, what are you doing when you have a nice fish? You know, and to make a fish broth, you don't really want the oily fish. You know,
Right.
again, because that's PUFAs,
Right.
right? You want more of the white fish. And I think if you were to ask them, I've been successful in getting them. And
The
then,
bones and things you
yeah,
talk
and
about,
you
yeah.
throw them in the freezer until you
Right.
have time to make a stock.
Yeah, that's a very
And
good
ask
thing
them
to
for
do.
the skins too if they have them,
Yeah.
because those actually make really good stocks.
Yeah, and in wintertime, especially when it's colder, I know we just got a whole bunch of snow up north, it's cold down here, there's nothing better than coming into your house and having something on the stove like a broth or maybe a soup cooking. That's special. Of course, during the holidays, lots of turkey soup going to be around.
Oh, that's right. That is absolutely
Yeah,
right.
now, with this, the difference between these two, they say they're not mentioning seafood besides just the wild fish and seafood, but one of the things that Lauren Cordendade did mention is that the wild fishy fish, the oily fish, has some great nutrition in there. So they do mention it, they just don't mention it in the same way that the Weston A. Price does. So
I think what we can see here is that we're getting back to just looking at how do people actually eat the food and how do they prepare it. We always share with you all, it's not just about it's how you source it, but it's how you prepare it.
Yeah. Another thing that Cordain did, he looked at this as a dry thing, not like a living thing. He didn't explain, okay, here are our ancestors, they're out on the plains of the Midwest, they're hunting buffalo, and what do? Well, they kill the buffalo, and they're drinking the blood right on the site, but he doesn't mention this in the book. Whereas Weston Price right here, raw animal food. All traditional cultures do this, especially the hunters while they're there.
All traditional cultures consume some of their animal food raw, so it is important to include raw dairy, raw meat, raw fish, and or raw shellfish in the diet on a frequent basis.
Yeah, so the hunters, I think, were out there eating, you know, if you're out there hunting for a few days, you're probably hungry, so you're going to eat something. And you're not going to be, stripping the bark off a tree and eating the bark. You're going to be eating that animal you just killed. And you're going to bring a lot of it back with you, but the stuff that it goes bad fast, like the blood and things.
You know why you're saying that? Let me share one of the things that happened there.
Okay, good.
Okay, there's a traditional tribe in Africa called the Maasai.
Yes.
All right, so the Maasai was a tribe that Weston A. Price had studied. Excuse me. But the Maasai primarily live on animal blood and
Right.
dairy
Yes.
from their herds of cow, and they're very strong, very robust health, very powerful people, powerful warriors, powerful hunters, lovely people, you know, and they wrote a letter to the Weston A. Price and said, we're sick. We're getting sick. We are, we've got all kinds of stuff happening to us. We've never had these things. And a fraction from the group went as like a mission, was sent by the foundation to go remind the Maasai, go back to what you used to do. You were healthy when you cultured your milk and had your probiotics, and it was really a beautiful. We got to see one night a video that overviewed their work, and I think it's going to become a yearly thing.
One of the things with the Maasai, of course, they were in a much better place many, many years ago before the white man came, and were really forced into the desert conditions and sort of on the outskirts of their territory. So they were forced into this blood with the cows because they probably had cows for a couple thousand years, but before that they were just following the animals around, the wild animals. So because of their structure now being really dismissed from their land, let's say, they're now in what they call just, government-owned land.
Right, they're not
surviving, and
probably not living actually in their true environment.
Yeah,
They've
and
adapted
still surviving, but now they're seeing problems, and I really think problems have to do with the environment. Their environment's getting worse and worse and worse, and therefore the animals are not going to be as healthy.
And the introduction of, as you say, the white man's foods, white man's ways. Pretty much any culture that's taken on the food or the stuff that we let pass as food do not thrive.
Yeah. And
see a degradation in their health.
Yeah, and agriculture really brought about one thing, and that is cities. And a city is an area where food does not grow. And that's the first time in history, really, that human beings have larger areas where food does not grow than the growing areas, because the growing areas in the United States and all around the world are not large areas at all.
Right.
Because they have to be because that crop has to come in, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. So, with the climate changing and things like that, we wonder, are these areas going to become smaller, which impacts all of us?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So just kind of continuing on, let's talk about the eggs. It's interesting, on the paleo diet, their eggs are allowed, but there's not an emphasis necessarily on pasture feeding, although I think we adapted that. We always talked about that, but just in general, she's going from previewing the original Cordain and Rob Wolf books, and they actually kind of focus on the egg white. It's encouraged, get a little extra protein there, because it is more of a heavy protein diet, whereas Weston Price is more of a heavy fat, moderate
I think
protein.
that's a mistake, because the egg whites are really harder to digest.
They completely are. In fact, they're not viewed as a really great source of food. Very tough to digest, particularly raw, the egg whites. But raw egg yolks, or any, as Sally says, eat your egg yolks no matter what you do. Eat them cooked,
if you're going to throw anything away, you throw away the whites, that's for sure. Yeah,
so
we got it all backwards here. Folks, please pick up our Health Signals newsletter. Got a great edition for you right now, and also pick up our Primal Edge. Get $25 off the first one you get. So
you can be healthy.
And Paige and I'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back. We're living a primal lifestyle on Paige, Clarke, and Nico to Haan. Hey, so let's talk about what makes up the Wise Traditions diet so you can make good choices. We covered eggs. Now let's cover vegetables. Typically in a paleo diet or other diets, cooking your vegetables, raw or cooked, but no added fat. That's not emphasized as being a healthy thing to do. But in the Wise Traditions diet, we recommend raw and cooked vegetables, but always with added butter or fat. Or
and another thing I always think of is that back in the old days when we were hunter and gatherers, we probably had 350 to 400 different types of plants that we ate, whereas now we're down to 3, 4, 5 maybe. I mean, there's not a lot out there, and a lot of them are derivative of cabbage. Like your kale is a cabbage.
Yeah, they're all hybrids and
they're all different parts of the cabbage. Some of them are stalks, some of them are flowers, and some of them are seeds. So we're eating a lot of 1 or 2 or 3 different types of things where our ancestors had much more diversity and therefore much more nutrition out of their vegetables, and they were wild. Probably.
And that's the way to do it too.
Yeah.
Use your vegetables as a smorgasbord, so to speak, to add a little bit of color. Get those different powers and pigment.
Yeah. I think of it more like the bread.
And the other reason why you...
It's a vehicle for other things. It's not the thing itself.
Right. Well, it's funny, because Thomas Jefferson, the president, said meat should be an accompaniment to a plate of vegetables. But I think what he's talking about, again, is that the portion of your meat does not have to be huge.
No.
It needs to be, and you still have some of these other things that are cooked in butter. And the reason butter is so important with vegetables is we cannot digest and utilize most of the minerals that are in a lot of these green vegetables we eat. We just don't have the ability to break down the cellulose unless it's cooked and steamed.
Yeah.
And adding the butter, the fat-soluble nutrients and the minerals are perfect pairs.
Now, we have a lot of people who are allergic, of course, to cow's butter.
Well, you can use ghee.
You can use ghee. Some people are still allergic to that. My wife still can't do ghee, but you can do goat.
Yes, okay, so yeah, goat.
So that's another one. Another thing she does, of course, she uses MCT oil, which, by the way, if you use MCT oil on anything, it enhances the flavor tenfold.
And that's a great resource, and really mixing the two together, the MCT oil and the butter if you have that flavor.
Yeah, or maybe a little olive oil you can spritz on there, macadamia nut oil, avocado oil. There's lots of choices out there.
Healthy salt and pepper.
Yeah.
So grains, on the paleo
we're
diet.
going to fruits.
Oh, I'm sorry, fruits. So typically, again, a paleo diet's going to recommend raw fruit, not really mention fats, but what you're going to see a lot more, we had a lot of custards, which were fruit custards there when they served us. So it's raw or cooked, and some fruits are more digestible than others if they're cooked.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention about fruits and vegetables is that they should be seasonal. In other words, you're not going to be eating avocados all year round, which unfortunately we do, and same with the fruits. You can have apples any time of the year. Apples are really a 2-week window of different types of apples.
Yeah, we're kind of in apple season right now.
Exactly.
Yes.
And blueberries are coming up also. So, these are seasonal things, and very important to realize why the seasons matter because of the detox and because of the different types of minerals
Good
and
point.
things we get there.
That's a really good point. So just remember, having that dollop of cream or mascarpone or perhaps a little kefir, a little cultured milk, and or a little bit of butter on some baked apples and some cinnamon. This is okay to do.
And also grains, and we're going to go through grains and then legumes, which are beans and lentils and things like that. These too are seasonal.
Right.
We eat bread every single day, but the season for wheat is only 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Right.
And that's about now too, except in where it's snow and ice covered. But same with the beans. These are seasonal foods that we have incorporated into our lives every single day of the year. You wonder why our health is gone, because Mother Nature has a reason why these are seasonal, and then Weston Price has a reason for preparing them properly.
That is so important. So it's about the sourcing, and the sourcing can actually mean the appropriateness of it, the timing, the seasonality, sourcing and seasonality. The paleo diet basically says no grains, based on the theory that Paleolithic people had no grains in their diet, and also because grains contain various anti-nutrients, and we've talked about that quite a bit.
And that makes sense, because grains in the old days were very, very small. They were very hard to find, and also when the time came for that grain to puff out, they did it very quickly. You almost touch it, then it puffs out. And we've actually grown these in a different way, so that doesn't happen.
Well, the traditional people knew that in order to get the nutrients out of grain, they had to not only properly source them, but properly prepare them. And this was recommended on the observation that healthy, primitive, and traditional people included the grains in their diet. They actually did, but they need to be properly prepared to neutralize the anti-nutrients and to improve the digestibility. Individuals who have trouble with grains may be able to eat them properly prepared after following a GAPS protocol, and that's the GAPS is the Gut and Psychology Syndrome Protocol. It's very well established and utilized by a lot of Weston A. Price followers, and really many of us, the reason we cannot eat the grains is because we grew up with them ill-properly prepared to begin with.
Yeah, and just caused our whole immune system to go kind of haywire in our stomach.
Exactly.
Too.
So you can recover with the GAPS diet, which is a very the GAPS diet is a commitment to eliminating certain foods and reintroducing foods. And it takes a while for your body to adjust that. That's for sure. But for people who have serious digestive issues or serious health issues, can be just an extreme lifesaver.
Yeah, and these were actually lifesavers, grains and beans and things like that, because they probably didn't start eating them until they had to, because there was nothing else.
And I'll tell you that it really is easy if you are someone that's going to have oatmeal periodically. If you get in the habit of putting it out the night before, putting it in the refrigerator with some whey, or some culture, or even just soaking them, let alone just soaking them. And you change the water out.
Apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar, there you go. And then you can actually make these to be a healthier food for you.
And actually, it tastes very good too.
Right. And same thing with the legumes and beans. The feeling that the legumes and beans have anti-nutrients, so they also need to be properly prepared. And so really what we've been doing here is always sharing.
We've always been, when I talk to Primal Diet, because I eat cheeses and I do a little bit of dairy here and there with the butter, but following more traditional lines and trying to really be healthy in the modern world. I mean, that's a really important thing.
That's what our whole show is about: living primal lifestyle, how to thrive, not just survive but thrive. And the people that thrived were the people that ate these sacred foods. And
then we come up to the other things, which are also seeds. We were talking grains are seeds, and lentils and beans are seeds. Nuts are seeds in the form too. They're higher up in the tree, so they have less protection, which is good for us because it's a little bit easier to digest. But nuts really are allowed in the paleo diet. But Weston Price really talks about preparation
very careful
again.
Preparation. You need to. You can't just go and buy yourself a can of Planters nuts on the and follow that kind of nuts with the
because those are legumes anyway.
The wise tradition. But there was actually a vendor there, a doctor, who's spent a great deal of time of soaking and sprouting, soaked and sprouted nuts, re-dehydrated. These are the kind of nuts you want to spend the money. They can be quite pricey, or you can learn to do it yourself.
Okay.
So if you're going to have nuts, properly prepare them.
We got a couple of nuts right here doing the show, but that's okay because we enjoy it, and I want people to stick around. Go to the Weston, not the Weston A price, but the TFNN.com website and find $25 off the healthy promotion of the Primal Edge. So please pick that up. Also, pick up my Health Signals newsletter, and I got a new one preparing already for December. So stick around, folks. We got one more segment left.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit tfnn.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
And welcome back, and we're talking about deconstructing the difference between what the strict paleo diet and what the Western price wise diet is, and now we're talking about the starchy carbohydrates like potatoes, yams, sweet potatoes, and things like that.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can, indeed. I stay away from the white potatoes, but once in a while I do venture into the yams, of course. I like particularly like the Japanese purple yams.
That's a super potato, yeah. And again, it's about balance, and but again, we should have these with a fat that slows down that starch and that reaction that we have. Dairy should be raw, whole, full fat, wonderful food for growing children. And there's a big difference. Again, it's about the sourcing and preparing, and there's nothing like so seek out resources. Use the Weston A. Price Foundation to help find raw dairy that you can use and make some of your own cultured dairy.
Yeah, and going back for a second to the yams and potatoes and things like that, these things cannot be eaten raw. Okay,
Right.
so
They need to be both.
and that's a good thing for me to think about, because I think if you can't eat it when it's not cooked, it's probably not as good for you as something that you can eat if it's completely raw.
Or it's to be eaten in moderation, too.
Exactly. That
It's
gives
kind
you
of
the
a-
signal, because you have to do a lot of work, so it's not as easy.
So the paleo diet says consume butter only occasionally or not at all. And Weston A. Price, they're big stacks of grass-fed butter on the table every day. Consume liberally. Butter is one of our great sources of vitamins A and D and vitamin K, the X factor, and all these great things.
One of the differences here, true, is that they don't include butter or any dairy products, and that's strictly because that's what happened. And somewhere along the line, people started using these things. It's important today to realize that we don't have the nutrients in the meat even today as much as possible. So we do have to supplement. And some of these dairy products are really high in nutrition.
When you really look at animal foods and compare their nutrient value, you see that they're just way off the chart in terms of zinc and vitamin A. Just the international units is just, there's no comparison.
Yeah. The last thing on here is really the meat fats, the lard, tallow, etc., and talking about oils. And Weston A. Price, of course, the oils
No industrial oils, no corn, soy, or canola.
Right. When we're talking about industrial, this means that these items were treated at a high heat or even with chemicals included in them.
And hexane,
that make them really bad. So those industrial oils that switched over into the 1950s, when we used to all consume butter and used to have always tallow or lard on.
And boy,
the
what a
table.
selection of all the different animal fats, but it's really a focus on using animal fats and cooking in lard. And so reintroduce these things your grandmother did. Lacto-fermented vegetables, we talked about that, great source of probiotic and cultured foods.
And really not mentioned too much. And actually, Weston Price, or exactly Lauren Cordain said they're too much of a hassle in a sense.
Yeah, but it was a real big part of our diet, and it really helps keep and they're very easy, actually, very easy to make and fermenting.
Of course, in the old days, before agriculture, they really didn't have pots and things to put things in to get them fermented in the first place.
And finally, my favorite is bone broths.
Yes,
and we had bone broth every single meal.
Did you?
It was just pouring from, and literally one meal we had, and they actually took the bones and then made a broth from it.
And if you're not making bone broth, this is the best time of year. You're getting the turkey, you got lots of bones left over, you maybe got a ham. These are great sources to start you on this primal kind of
wise
living.
traditions diet, right. Using ancestral health, using the wisdom of our ancestors to eat foods and prepare them the way they did to produce healthy people.
Yeah, if you want more information on this, of course, go to the Weston A. Price website, and you're going to find lots of videos, lots of books you can get.
Rich source of information for you and your family, great cooking tips, great homesteading, wise traditions in food, farming, and the healing arts. Weston
And now we have
A. Price.
a chapter with Paige here.
Going to be getting it going in the first of the year.
Yep. Thanks for sticking around, folks. I'll see you next time. Have a great Turkey Day, and be safe in the holidays.
Have a wonderful holiday with your family.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.